Well, here's something you don't see every night. First-hand accounts of real-life exorcisms from Catholic priests trained by the Vatican.
Behind the sacred chapels of the Vatican, a dark side awaits. The side of strange rituals, mysterious connections, and incidents that go way beyond religion. Hang on, because what you're about to see will leave you in shock.
Mary is the mother of God, and she's sad, and sometimes she cries tears of oil, and sometimes she cries tears of blood. These are relics basically thought to have divine power.
After World War II, the world was trying to rebuild, but some dark secrets stayed hidden. Shockingly, many Nazi criminals escaped justice with secret help from the Vatican. Using fake papers and new names, thousands were moved across Europe and sent to places like Argentina. A bishop named Alois Hudal helped set up secret escape routes called rat lines, hiding Nazis in churches and monasteries. Even Pope Pius XII stayed silent, knowing about the widespread loss of life, but choosing not to act. Because of this secret network, men like Adolf Eichmann and Josef Mengele escaped punishment, while the world thought justice had been done. Pope's mysterious end.
Pope John Paul I allegedly died of a heart attack, but the problem is that he was big time trying to reform the Vatican.
Pope John Paul I's sudden demise in 1978 was officially blamed on a heart attack, but many believe it wasn't natural. At the time, he was quietly trying to clean up corruption inside the Vatican Bank. He had started investigating links between high-ranking church officials and the mafia. Then, just like that, he passed away. A shocking claim came in 2019. Anthony Raimondi, nephew of mob boss Lucky Luciano, said he traveled to the Vatican in 1978 to help poison the Pope with cyanide on orders from his cousin, Archbishop Marcinkus, who ran the Vatican Bank. And if you're waiting for the truth, you'll have to wait longer, since the Vatican waits 70 years after a pope's reign before releasing secret archives. The full truth, if it exists, won't be revealed until the year 2048.
In the best-selling 1980s book In God's Name by David Yallop, which covered the conspiracy theories around the death of John Paul I, Marcinkus was heavily implicated as being complicit in that crime.
Spear of Destiny.
The origin of the spear comes from the Gospel of John. Jesus is on the cross. The Romans are trying to figure out whether he's dead because there's a lot of pressure to get him down and bury him.
This weapon didn't just end a life, it started a legend. The Spear of Destiny was the lance used by a Roman soldier to pierce Jesus during the crucifixion. As the story goes, the wound of Jesus healed the soldier's eyes, turning the spear into a sacred relic. Over time, it was believed that whoever held the spear would never lose a battle. Charlemagne, the powerful French king, carried it through 47 victories, but legend says the moment he dropped it, he faced defeat. The spear is now kept in a museum in Vienna. Many still believe it held power beyond explanation, but after all this time, some still wonder, was it just a weapon, or was it something far more harmful?
Because this was the only weapon that is said to have pierced the body of Christ. The legend got going that if you had the Spear of Destiny, the Holy Lance, you could not be stopped. You were invincible. Perhaps believing God would then be on their side and they would prevail.
Weeping Virgin Mary.
Many people gathered to witness this on 3 different occasions of this statue of the Virgin Mary weeping real tears.
In a small parish in Hobbs, New Mexico, a statue of the Virgin Mary began to weep during Mass, drawing attention from the congregation. As people recorded the event on their phones, the tears appeared to be olive oil, not water. Religious scholar Diana Pasulka explains that such occurrences, where the Virgin Mary weeps tears of oil or even red liquid, are seen as relics with divine power. Engineers and researchers, including Michael O'Neill, ruled out hoaxes, leaky pipes, or condensation. The tears formed naturally, and the statue's unique bronze material doesn't absorb water, while the Catholic Church has not officially verified this as a miracle.
Mary is the mother of God, and she's sad, and sometimes she cries tears of oil, and sometimes she cries tears of blood. These are relics, basically, thought to have divine power.
Vatican Secret Library.
The Vatican's secret archives, or archivum secretum, actually genuinely only means private archives. But there's no doubt that an awful lot of what's in those vaults is most definitely secret. There's 50 miles of shelving.
The Vatican has a hidden library that most people will never see. It's called the Vatican Secret Archives, and only certain researchers are allowed inside. In 2015, a special team was given access to film parts of the archives for the first time. Inside, there are over 50 kilometers of old shelves filled with letters, secrets, and official papers from popes and kings. Some say this library holds proof about the church's darkest secrets, like links to aliens, hidden crimes, and even forbidden science. And while the public only sees a tiny part of it, many believe the real secrets are buried in underground vaults, still locked away from the world. Jesus statue blinked. In Saltillo, Mexico, a statue of Jesus Christ was caught on camera doing something unbelievable. It opened its eyes and then shut them again. The creepy footage was actually filmed back in June 2015, but recently blew up after being shared by Adimensional, a group that researches paranormal events. They claim the video is 100% real. Strangely, the church authorities refused to even watch the clip and quickly dismissed it. No matter what side you believe, the eerie scene is impossible to ignore. Trial of a corpse. In 896, Pope Formosus was put on trial, even though he had been departed for 9 months. After his demise, Pope Stephen VI and his political rivals decided to dig up Formosus's body and accuse him of violating church laws. The corpse, already decomposing, was dressed and propped up for the trial. Despite being deceased, he was found guilty of perjury and other charges, and his papacy was declared invalid. The pope who initiated the trial was later imprisoned and strangled. Formosus's bizarre posthumous trial remains one of the most shocking episodes in the history of the Catholic Church. Forgotten Nephilim story.
They threw a rock into the cave, heard the sound of breaking pots, came back the next day, climbed into the cave, and what did they find? They found huge clay jars.
In 1947, Bedouin shepherds near Qumran, Israel, made an unbelievable discovery. After tossing a rock into a cave, they heard pots shatter, and inside found ancient scrolls older than any known Bible copies. Among them was the mysterious Book of Giants, a text that expands on the story of the Nephilim, giant offspring of heavenly beings and human women. Even stranger was a lost version of Noah's story. In these scrolls, Noah's father, Lamech, doubted the boy was his, noting Noah's radiant skin and glowing eyes. Enoch, Noah's great-grandfather, revealed the truth. Noah was created by sky beings through artificial insemination. This shocking detail flips the traditional story of Noah upside down, hinting at secrets long hidden beneath familiar beliefs.
He is described as having skin so white it was radiant. His hair was white like wool. His father, Lamech, says he has the ways of the Watchers. When he blinked, his eyes lit up the whole house. This does not sound like a human being.
Paris catacombs. Beneath the beautiful streets of Paris, a darker city waits. The catacombs, built using the bones of 6 million people. Only a small part is open to visitors. The rest is a forbidden maze, unexplored and dangerous. Strange noises, missing people, and hidden chambers have fed chilling stories for years. Some even say entire illegal communities live deep underground, robbing lost explorers of their lights and maps. In the past, criminals used these tunnels to rob a wine shop, stealing bottles worth thousands. Today, many fear what truly hides under Paris, because once you step too far into the unknown, there's no promise you'll find your way back. Escape tunnel for popes. Long ago, popes had a lot to worry about, like people trying to attack them. So in 1277, Pope Nicholas III built a secret tunnel called the Passetto di Borgo. It's about 2,600 feet long and links Vatican City to a huge fortress called Castel Sant'Angelo. Popes used this hidden path whenever things got dangerous. Pope Alexander VI escaped through it in 1494 when Rome was invaded. Later, Pope Clement VII also used it during the terrible sack of Rome, when the Swiss Guard was almost completely wiped out. Even today, the tunnel is still there, hidden under the busy streets of Rome. It's crazy to think about how much risk the popes faced and the secret ways they stayed alive. Demon Fresco. Inside the Pauline Chapel in the Vatican, a strange mystery hides among the art. In Michelangelo's fresco showing the conversion of Saul, observers have spotted what looks like a small demon hidden among the holy figures. It's not easy to see at first, but with careful eyes, the shadowy figure becomes clear. Some believe Michelangelo added it as a secret sign of his personal struggles or as a quiet criticism of the Church. The Vatican has never explained the demon's presence, leaving its meaning unknown. Leak scandal. The Vatican leak scandal of 2012 proved that even the most secretive place on earth can be caught. A shocking book hit the shelves, packed with hidden truths about Pope Benedict XVI. But the real twist? The information came straight from the Pope's own butler, who leaked confidential papers. These documents expose deep corruption, blackmail, and ugly power struggles inside the Vatican. Personal letters between Benedict and his secretary were also revealed, shaking the papacy's carefully guarded image. The scandal pulled back the curtain on jealousy and infighting that had been hidden for centuries. It wasn't surprising to some, but it still created a huge stir across the world. St. Peter's Basilica.
It's the only statue that Michelangelo signed?
With the sign, yes.
St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City is one of the most sacred places in the world. It's not just a church, it's the heart of centuries-old secrets. Inside, you'll find the famous Pieta statue, the only one Michelangelo ever signed. You'll also see the bronze statue of St. Peter, whose foot has been worn down by millions of visitors touching it for blessings. But the real mystery is buried even deeper. Under the floor lies the tomb of St. Peter himself. Few people get to see it up close, but those who do say it's a feeling they'll never forget.
It's incredible to see how many hands have touched this and worn down. Millions,
I think.
Oh, I just got the chills.
Secret rooms. Most people think the Vatican is all holy halls and guided tours, but they're missing what's really hiding behind closed doors. Inside the vast palace lies a maze of secret rooms that the public never gets to see. Some are part of the Pope's private chambers, but others are far stranger. There's the Apostolic Palace, usually off limits, except during a special event when new cardinals are appointed. That's when a few hidden doors might quietly swing open. People who manage to sneak a peek have reported seeing a bathroom covered in erotic art painted by Raphael. Yes, seriously. And deep below, a tunnel from 1277 is said to lead to Castel Sant'Angelo, built for the Pope to escape during an invasion. Not exactly what you'd expect from the Vatican. Pope's Holocaust knowledge exposed. A hidden letter from 1942 has revealed a chilling truth. Pope Pius XII knew about the Holocaust in detail. Found buried in the Vatican archives, the letter was written by Jesuit priest Father Koenig. It described how 6,000 Jews and Poles were losing their lives daily near Rawa-Roska, a Nazi camp in occupied Poland. The letter was sent to the Pope's personal secretary, showing the Vatican wasn't just hearing rumors. They had real, horrifying proof. Yet, they stayed silent. The question now isn't whether they knew. It's why they kept silent when the world needed the truth the most. Vatican bank scandal.
The Catholic Church is a big business. With more than 1 billion followers, it's the richest religion in the world. But the Vatican Bank is accused of corruption and abetting money laundering. And while Pope Francis has promised to clean up its finances, there are calls for the bank to prosecute criminal cases. So how deep are the pockets of the Catholic Church.
The Catholic Church, the world's richest religion with over 1 billion followers, has faced troubling accusations. The Vatican Bank was accused of corruption and helping with money laundering. In 2016, the bank made around $40 million in profit and managed over $7 billion in assets for about 15,000 clients, including Catholic orders and clergy. Although thousands of suspicious accounts were frozen, calls for criminal prosecutions have grown louder. Pope Francis pushed for reforms, but progress has been slow, facing resistance from within the Vatican. Financial watchdogs praised some improvements, but urged stronger action. Reform efforts suffered a setback when Cardinal George Pell, who led financial reforms, faced investigation in Australia, leaving the Vatican's financial cleanup hanging in the balance.
Reforming the Vatican is very difficult. Processes in the Vatican tend to be slow. In fact, it's famous for being a princely court, almost like medieval times. And so the Pope has found a lot of opposition from people within the Vatican. And yet he's taken some decisive steps that have, I think, already proven to show substantial and permanent change.
Vatican's space hunt.
We've created a diametrical opposition between religion and science. But in fact, that's not historical reality. People question why the Vatican has a telescope and a big observatory. It has done for hundreds of years. The answer is actually very simple. For centuries, the Church was based on a liturgical calendar that the Vatican had to calculate. And that calendar is based on the movement of the heavenly bodies and astronomy.
Many are surprised to learn that the Vatican operates a state-of-the-art observatory in Arizona. The Church has studied the stars for centuries, starting in the 16th century when Pope Gregory XIII built the Gregorian Tower to better track the calendar. However, as Rome's skies became polluted, the Vatican moved its observatory to Mount Graham in Arizona. Some believe the Vatican's interest isn't just about calendars anymore. The advanced telescope, humorously nicknamed Lucifer, has sparked conspiracy theories suggesting the Church is secretly searching for extraterrestrial life. Although the Catholic Church traditionally teaches that Earth hosts the only life, rumors persist that behind closed doors, they might believe otherwise.
Absolutely incredible that the Vatican has got its own telescope, huge telescope in Arizona. Are they looking for extraterrestrials? Do they believe there are extraterrestrials? The Catholic Church can't believe that there are aliens because they've told us for 2,000 years that we are the only planet in the universe that has life on it.
Mystery of Turin Shroud.
The Shroud of Turin is this amazing relic. At bottom, it's a piece of cloth. It shows a very faint sort of image of a crucified man. And the crucified man calls us to remember Jesus' death and resurrection.
Turin, Italy, became the center of attention in June 2015. Inside the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist, Pope Francis stood before a very old linen cloth known as the Shroud of Turin. Many believe this cloth once covered the body of Jesus after his crucifixion. The cloth had not been shown to the public for over 5 years, making this moment even more powerful. The cloth shows a faint image of a man's body, and some believe it's a sign of Jesus' resurrection. But back in 1988, a lab test said the cloth was from the 1300s. Later, experts found that the test was done on a repaired patch, not the original cloth. So far, no one has solved the mystery.
Jesus was taken down from the cross. He was wrapped in linen, and then his body was put in the tomb.
According to the legends, the shroud is the cloth that his dead body is wrapped in. And because of the contact with the body of Jesus, that transforms and leaves a lasting mark on the cloth.
Vatican's real exorcisms.
Well, here's something you don't see every night. First-hand accounts of real-life exorcisms from Catholic priests trained by the Vatican. They say they've seen demons in action.
In a small town near the border of Ohio and Indiana, a Catholic priest trained by the Vatican claims to have witnessed terrifying signs of real demonic possession, from people levitating in Rome to voices changing mid-sentence. Father Vincent Lampert says these scenes aren't fiction. He spoke of one case where just his prayer caused a woman's chair to fly back with hurricane-like force. Another time, a woman lunged at him like a wild dog with a voice mocking him, saying, "You're not strong enough." These stories might sound impossible, but they're backed by official training, and Father Lampert now gets over 1,800 calls a year, many from people with no religious background at all. These aren't movie sets. They're sacred spaces where words alone can turn terrifying.
Many will dismiss the idea of the devil taking possession of a person. But the priest in this tiny town near the border of Ohio and Indiana is now known all over the world for his work around just that.
St. Peter Crypt. This chamber is called St. Peter's Necropolis. It's located about 33 feet below the Vatican's Basilica. Many believe this place holds the bones of St. Peter himself, the first pope and a close follower of Jesus. The Vatican claims they found bones during a secret excavation in the 1940s, along with Greek letters carved in stone, spelling out Peter's name. But here's what makes it more strange. The walls inside the crypt show pagan gods right next to Christian symbols. Some say the church hid this place for years to avoid questions. Underground City. There's a secret underground world right beneath the Vatican, and it's not just any basement. It's called the Necropolis, an ancient city of the dead hidden under St. Peter's Basilica. This place was discovered in the 1940s during quiet excavation work, and what they found was shocking. Old tombs, decorated walls, and mysterious symbols from both Christian and pagan beliefs mixed together. Some say this is the exact spot where St. Peter was buried after his crucifixion. The Vatican even showed what they claim are his bones. So why did they keep it secret for so long? Whatever the truth is, this strange underground maze still guards stories that the world wasn't meant to find so easily. Vatican and extraterrestrials.
I have to wonder if the secret library at the Vatican, which they acknowledge exists, doesn't have records or chronicles about extraterrestrial contacts that the Catholic Church has recorded and knows happened, but is keeping a secret.
The Vatican's secret archives were long closed off from the public, have fueled speculation. Some researchers believe that these hidden records could contain startling evidence about extraterrestrial encounters, potentially involving figures like Giordano Bruno, who hinted at the existence of life beyond Earth. One of the most curious cases is the 1917 Fatima event, where 3 children claim to have received messages from a being they believe to be the Virgin Mary. However, some theorists suggest that these messages actually came from extraterrestrials, warning humanity of their return. The Vatican's refusal to release the third message has led to rumors that it reveals even more about alien life.
The third message apparently talks about extraterrestrial life. Now that is sensational, because to me, to deny the revelation of that particular message, and that is exactly what the Pope did.
Donation of Constantine. In the 4th century, a document known as the Donation of Constantine claimed that Emperor Constantine granted the Pope immense religious and political powers. It suggested that after being cured of leprosy by Pope Sylvester I, Constantine handed over territories and gave the Pope rights that mirrored those of the Emperor, including authority over bishops and land. For years, the Church used this document to strengthen its influence. However, it wasn't until the 15th century that historians revealed it was a forgery, likely created in the 8th century. Despite its exposure as a fraud, the donation had already played a significant role in consolidating the Vatican's power across Europe. Mystery of Emanuela Orlandi. In 1983, 15-year-old Emanuela Orlandi vanished after leaving a music lesson in Rome. Though she grew up within the walls of Vatican City, the Vatican's response to her disappearance was strangely indifferent. Instead of launching a search, they let the Italian police handle it, offering no public appeals or support. Over the years, several theories emerged. Some suggested she was kidnapped for ransom, while others pointed to connections with Pope John Paul II's attempted assassin. Despite numerous new leads, the Vatican consistently blocked investigations. In 2019, after pressure, 2 tombs were opened in Vatican City, but they were found completely empty, deepening the mystery. The Vatican's lack of cooperation only fuels suspicion. Vatican's surprising nickname. Vatican City might be the smallest country in the world, but it once had a surprising nickname, the crime capital of the world. With only about 500 people living there in 2006, it still had hundreds of crimes reported. But the real problem wasn't the locals. Every year, millions of tourists visit, and some take advantage by stealing or picking pockets. The Vatican has just one judge and no prison, so when someone is caught, they are sent over to Italy for punishment. It's a strange setup for such a tiny country, but with so many visitors packed into such a small space, keeping things under control isn't easy. Secrets of the Scrolls. Near the Dead Sea, one of the world's biggest surprises was hiding for years: the Dead Sea Scrolls. These old papers were found in caves between Israel and Jordan. They had parts of the Bible, songs, prayers, calendars, and other writings from thousands of years ago. When experts studied them, they learned many new things about early Judaism and Christianity. But not all of the scrolls were shared with the public. Some people say the Catholic Church kept a few hidden because they didn't match what the Church teaches. It's not the first time parts of history were hidden to protect beliefs. Still, the Dead Sea Scrolls gave the world a rare look into a time most people thought was lost forever. Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant has been one of history's greatest mysteries. Thought to have been lost or ruined long ago, some believe it may still be hidden, not just anywhere, but deep within the Vatican's vaults. It's said that the Church recovered the Ark centuries ago and sealed it away, hiding it from the world. Theories suggest its power is far too great for public knowledge. Some even claim it holds ancient technology capable of unimaginable destruction or communication with divine forces. Whether this is true or just a myth, no one knows for sure. But if the Ark is indeed hidden beneath the Vatican, then it could be guarding the most powerful object the world has ever known. Vatican role in Crusades. The Vatican's role in the Crusades is a dark and often overlooked part of history. From the 11th to the 13th centuries, Pope-backed European armies, known as Crusaders, set out to reclaim holy sites in the Eastern Mediterranean, especially Jerusalem. The First Crusade, launched in 1095, led to the capture of Jerusalem and the creation of Crusader states. Thousands passed, and many were forcibly converted to Christianity. The Pope even offered absolution for sins committed during these violent campaigns. Today, rumors suggest that the Vatican holds more than just relics in its vaults. Women Pope. The tale of Pope Joan has fascinated many, though most consider it a myth. According to the story, a woman disguised herself as a man and rose to become Pope John VII. She was believed to be a skilled scholar from Athens who gained respect in Rome before secretly reaching the highest position in the church. Her secret came out when she gave birth in the middle of a public procession. Enraged, the crowd reportedly tied her to a horse and dragged her to demise. Even though the story remains popular, most historians agree it was likely made up by early critics of the church. Fireproof Saint. There was once a saint who refused to end easily. His name was Polycarp, and according to accounts, fire could not burn his skin. Polycarp lived close enough to the time of Christ that he became a student and good friend of John, one of the 12 apostles. As he grew older, he became the Bishop of Smyrna in modern-day Turkey. When the first waves of violence against Christians began, Polycarp was among the early ones to face it. A crowd gathered outside his church, demanding he be punished. He was arrested and sentenced to be burned alive at 86 years old. What happened next was witnessed by many. The fire wrapped around him, but he remained untouched. Instead of burning, people said he seemed to shine, and the air smelled like baking bread. Only when a soldier used a blade did his life finally end. His story remains one of the most powerful among the early martyrs. Devil's Bible. The Codex Gigas, also called the Devil's Bible, is the biggest medieval book ever found. It was written in the early 13th century and holds the full Bible, writings about exorcism, and a huge picture of the devil. A legend says a monk broke his holy promises and was going to be punished. To escape, he promised to write a book with all human knowledge in just one night. When he saw he couldn't finish, he asked the devil for help and gave up his soul. Today, The Codex Gigas is kept at the National Library of Sweden. It first belonged to a monastery in the Czech Republic. No matter what, the Devil's Bible still feels like one of the strangest books ever made. Worst Pope. The role of the Pope is seen as holy, but not every Pope lived up to that image. Over 2,000 years, a few popes became known for terrible actions. Pope John XII, ruling from 955 to 964, was accused of violence, gambling, and even taking lives. He is often called one of the worst popes in history. Later, Pope Alexander VI, from the powerful Borgia family, led from 1492 to 1503. He was known for corruption, favoritism, and many affairs. His name even appears in stories and games like Assassin's Creed. Another shocking case was Pope Stephen VI, who hated his rival so much that he put a departed pope on trial, leading to outrage and his own downfall. Bones of St. Peter. Near St. Peter's Basilica, a surprising discovery was made after 2,000 years. In a small church that had been closed for 35 years, workers found bone fragments that might belong to St. Peter himself. St. Peter, one of Jesus' 12 apostles, is believed by Catholics to guard the gates of heaven. The fragments were found inside a box with the names of saints scratched on the lid, with Petros, Peter, written first.
The first name written about him is Petros. Petros.
Some believe an early pope may have hidden them there to strengthen his authority during troubled times. Now the Vatican is carefully protecting the relics. If Pope Francis opens an investigation, this small forgotten church could turn into an important place of worship and pilgrimage once again.
If Pope Francis decides to open an investigation, this could become a place of worship, a place of great pilgrimage.
Terresa Newman Mystery. Therese Newman was born in 1898 in a small village in Germany. She dreamed of becoming a missionary, but after a terrible accident, she became paralyzed and blind. Against all odds, Therese regained her sight and later her ability to walk, both on the same days important to her favorite saint, Saint Therese of Lisieux. Soon after, strange wounds like those of Christ appeared on her body. She also survived without food, taking only the Holy Eucharist. Doctors studied her but could not explain her survival. Throughout her life, Therese claimed to see visions of Jesus, Mary, and saints sharing in their sufferings to help others. Her story remains one of the most mysterious spiritual cases in history. Story of Thela. The Acts of Paul and Thela is like an ancient Bible romance story. It was removed from the Bible a long time ago, even though it didn't say anything bad about anyone. It tells the story of a young girl named Thela who heard Paul preaching and became a huge fan. Her family didn't like it, so they got Paul thrown in jail. Thela sneaked into the prison just to sit by him. Later, she was almost burned at the stake, but was saved by a miracle. After that, Thela and Paul traveled together, spreading the message of Christianity. She later lived alone in a cave for 72 years. Some believe she was real, but the church didn't want a woman seen as Paul's equal. Vatican Observatory. The Vatican Observatory is one of the oldest centers for studying the stars. It's supported by the Holy See and is based in Castel Gandolfo, Italy. They also have a powerful telescope set up in Arizona, USA, at Mount Graham International Observatory. The church has been interested in the stars for a long time, not because they were big into science, but mainly to figure out dates for religious holidays, like Easter. Tracking the stars helped them keep the calendar accurate. So the observatory wasn't about secret science missions. It was simply a tool they needed to serve their faith. Still, it's pretty fascinating that the church has been quietly connected to astronomy for centuries. Templar Secrets.
Accusations have been leveled at the Templars are extremely lurid, and have always attracted, for that reason, a great deal of attention. But they are there in black and white in the trial depositions, so we have to address them and assess them.
During the Templar trials, strange secrets came to light. Members confessed that new initiates had to perform weird rituals, like kissing senior members in odd places and even spitting on the cross. They were also accused of denying Jesus and worshipping a strange bearded head. Some said the head had 2 faces, 4 feet, or was made of gold or silver. Others believed it was the preserved head of the first Grand Master, Hugh de Payens. There were even whispers about an idol called Baphomet, which some think was linked to Islam. When the Templars went to the Holy Land, they saw how advanced Muslim culture was, and it's possible that it quietly influenced their beliefs. No wonder these secrets caused so much controversy.
The 12th century, the Muslim culture, the Muslim civilization was very ahead of the Western European civilization. When the Knights Templar went to the Holy Land, they were confronted with a culture that was very superior to their own. So some influences began to settle in the general ideology of the Templars.
Lost Bible books. Back in 1611, when the Bible was first translated into English, it had 80 books. Today, there are only 66. The missing ones are known as the Apocrypha, meaning hidden in Greek. Some of these missing books include Esdras, Tobit, Judith, and the Wisdom of Solomon. Even stranger is the name change for Jesus. It was originally spelled Isis before the books were removed, and today, we say Jesus. Why were these books removed? There are many theories, but no one knows for sure. Some believe they didn't fit with the church's narrative, while others think they made the Bible too long. Whatever the reason, the Catholic Church chose to leave them out, shaping the Bible into the version we know today. Lost Jar of Manna. The Israelites wandered the desert for 40 years after escaping Egypt. During this time, God provided a mysterious food called manna, described in the Bible as flaky, like frost. It appeared with the dew at night, and the Israelites collected it each morning to survive. Before leaving the desert, God told Moses to save some manna in a jar for future generations. The jar was placed inside the Ark of the Covenant, along with the 10 Commandments and Aaron's rod. Today, the location of the jar remains unknown, with some believing it's hidden in the Vatican, Ethiopia, or Jerusalem. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. Beneath the Vatican, rumors tell of a secret chamber hidden in complete darkness. A mysterious image recently caused a buzz, showing hooded figures standing around a golden door covered in strange symbols. Hundreds of monks in white robes kneel silently, staring at a glowing figure near the door. The golden arch looks like it's guarding something ancient and powerful. No one knows what lies beyond it, but the door has stayed sealed for centuries. This eerie scene has left many wondering what secret the Vatican might be keeping hidden deep underground.